Good morning. How y'all feeling out there? I just want to take a second to say how proud I am of that animation. See what I'm
It's a great
saying?
animation.
It
Great
is
animation.
doing what I need to do. Hold on, I can't hit the. It's not. It's got me. It's not letting me hit the button. Oh, y'all. Hold up. Let me. Okay, wait. Okay, I gotta go on mute. Cause it's not letting me turn the technology. What are you doing? It's not letting me turn the button off on Instagram. So like on Instagram, you could put a link now, but the link button is covering up the button. Okay, here we go. Jeez, that was all. I had to do a lot. And why is it still echoing? Oh, it's echoing on this one. Jeez Louise. Okay, hold on. All right, here we go. Here we go. Okay.
You got it. You got it.
Can you
You
hear
saw
me?
how I got quiet. Like I was like, let me just be quiet. Because sometimes you just need people to be quiet so you can figure out how everybody
So
be quiet.
you gotta turn. Is that turn your radio down moment? You know what I'm
Yes.
saying?
I got quiet, girl. I said, whoop, just be quiet for a
Turn your
second.
radio down. Just turn your radio down because we trying to see where we're going. You know what I'm saying? That's what I said about the Jay-Z freestyle. I don't know if you saw everybody posting about Jay-Z freestyling at the Roots picnic. I
Yeah.
said I know I'm getting old because I'm squinting my eyes so I can try to see what he's saying. You know what I'm saying? It was just too much noise in the background. I was looking at the post like I'm in the crowd. Like, what is he saying though?
I'm trying to see what he's
I'm
saying.
trying
I'm
to
trying
see
to
what he's
see it.
saying. You know what I'm saying? Everybody
Oh
be
my goodness.
quiet. Because I'm trying to
Listen,
see what he's saying. You know what I'm saying?
listen. I
Um,
get it. I get it. We are of that age where let me try to tell you the other day on me I had one of my old school clients. She was like, "Hey, I please can you just do my makeup real quick?" And I was like, "All right, girl, just come on." Baby, when I had to put them glasses on so I could see how to apply that makeup, I said, "My God, it is happening. My
it's
God, today.
happening.
It is
My God,
happening.
today. It is happening.
It is happening."
It is
But
happening because
I said,
no,
but
that is so.
I can't see, baby. And then I was looking, I must need progressives. So when I go to the doctors, I'm gonna say I need progressives because I was looking through the lens, but then I had to look over it. You know what I'm saying? You got to look through it, but then you
Mm-hmm.
got to look over it.
Mm-hmm. It
I
says where we
can't.
at. And so I can see, but I can't read a thing. Don't put a word in front of me. Okay. Like if I take these glasses off, I can see faces, I can see all that, I can see but don't put no words. Don't write
The
me a
words
note.
got you.
It's
Okay,
not
you ain't
happening.
got it. Okay,
Mm-mm.
yeah. My
It's
eyes
not
get
working.
tired. So like
Mm.
I can see and I can read, and then all of a sudden it'll go blurry, and I'd be like, "Wow, okay." My eyes just give up. Like at midday, my eyes be like, "That's it. I'm finished. I'm finished. You get somebody else to do it. I'm not doing it."
Mm. I hear
So,
that. I hear that.
mm,
I
mm,
do. I get
mm.
that. That makes a lot of sense to me. And I'm sure a lot of people out there this makes sense to them. You see what I'm saying?
It
They makes
does.
sense to them because there's a certain point. First of all, I think it's a scam. Because I'm trying to figure out how we all of a sudden need glasses. Like, what is happening around us that nobody's eyesight is making it past 40?
No,
Nobody's
absolutely
honestly,
nothing.
your eyesight these days ain't making it past 35. If you can read without glasses past 35, you have significantly unlocked some level that I'm not aware of.
Listen, I'm gonna have to go with you.
That that
I made it past 35. I did. I made it
okay.
past 40 and then it went downhill fast. Like it was like ooh and then it was a you know what I mean? Then I'm down. Then I'm down.
But
But
did
I'm
you
also
make it or did you push it though?
but listen, I can't remember because I'm perimenopausal and my brain also got the fog on it. Okay?
So then there's
Mhm.
that. You see what I'm saying? It's like I thought I made it, but did I really? You know,
But
I
did I
think that,
really?
but did I really?
And I'm
According to
gonna have to
me,
agree. And that's all that matters. According as for me in my house, that's what I'm gonna go with.
we're gonna serve the Lord.
That's all I
As for
got.
me in my house,
That's all I got. That's all I got. But it does bring back for me like the need to make sure we going to that doctor.
mm,
Uh,
no, I think that's right. And I think, no, yes, yes, yes. And I think that, so I'm a fan of, good morning, leader. I'm a fan of, you got to go to the doctor. You got to make sure you do
mhm.
that. And
Mhm.
I think that we need to start looking at like Western medicine and Eastern medicine. So get your acupuncture, get your,
Mhm.
figure out different
Mhm.
nervous system regulation things, figure that out. And if you need medicine to take, like, do all that it takes, like,
Yeah.
to get
Yeah.
yourself to levels of health.
And
My dad, God bless him, he,
when you got to do the God bless them, that's
you
when you
got him
know.
because just God bless him. But I am, we're talking about different health things or whatever. And he's like, well, yeah, well, look up what kind of medicines they got for it. And I'm like, yeah, but I think if you just stop smoking and just like maybe like, park a little further than you normally would park, right?
Mhm.
To just get some extra steps in,
Yeah.
right? You work at, this place. They got plenty of walking trails and paths. Park a little bit further than you normally walk. Find a loop to take every day. And I think just that little bit can increase. And I'm not even saying like completely change your diet because like these are big changes.
Mhm.
Even
Mhm.
saying like stop smoking, that's a huge life change,
Yeah.
right? I'm sensitive to that. Where could we start? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like where could we,
Yeah.
I think that's the place. It's like, Adrian saying it's about finance yesterday. It's like, yes, it's a big, big feat to change your life, your habits, your thought processes. It's just
Mhm.
that entrepreneurship throws you in and have to change them.
Mhm.
But a lot of other places in life does not throw you in there to have to change anything. You have to throw yourself in there, or you get some bad news, and then
Yeah.
you decide. And I didn't want to be that. I don't want to. I didn't, and I don't want to be the person that bad news got to change me.
Yeah, I mean that's really important. And when you bring up like Eastern medicine, when I was in South Korea, that was a thing that you realize the difference in priority, right, from the
Mm,
United States. Like when we were in South Korea, like you were able to get your eyes checked and a pair of glasses for like $60. You
mm-hmm,
know what I mean? And it was just like you didn't have to get a referral to get an MRI or a CAT
mm,
scan or like you just didn't need, like you could just schedule an appointment. You could say, "Hey, I'd like to get a CAT scan," right?
mm,
And you could get it, and it might be $100, right? Something like that. But it's just like the our healthcare system too. Like when you start looking at
mm,
how hard it is, right? Because I know, like, even for me going to the doctors, I got to get a referral from my primary care to go to any of the other specialists that I need to go to at this big age, right? But then the referral only lasts a certain number of weeks or months, and if you can't get into the person, then you need to get another referral. And I'm just like, but I just
mm.
got I just got the referral. Like, it's not my fault that the next appointment not until December. Like, so now you got to get another referral to go through that. Then you got to get approval. Don't let your insurance
Oh
company
my
not approve it.
goodness. Then there's
Like,
that.
so it's just it's a thing. It's horrible. I mean,
It
it
is. And
becomes a
it's funny.
barrier. Hmm.
It becomes a barrier and it's slow moving. To your point of like, cause so like when I was in India, I went to get an eye exam on like a Monday. I got a pair of glasses on like Wednesday. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
and that's
Full
yeah,
blown, pick them up, got the prescription and everything. Here,
yeah.
you go get your eyes done. Go get your eyes checked. You ain't getting your glasses for like 2-3 weeks.
Yeah, yeah, it was like that too. One of the other business owners that was on a trip, he got his eyes checked and he got literally, we were only there for 5 days. So he got his eyes checked and he got his glasses within 48 hours. Like they called and was just like, "Hey, your glasses are ready. Come pick them up." And I'm like, "My God." Woo. Like he was like, "Yep, I'm going to pick up my glasses." And I was like, "That's wild." And it's just like to think that we are the industrialized. Like we're like
Right.
and we're the
And I
like now.
wonder, okay, so this is interesting to me because I wonder what people experience when they come to the US where they're like, oh my God, over there, they can, do blah, blah, blah. Like I wonder what that is for people. Oh, dang, I'm freezing up. Am I freezing up? I think I'm freezing up.
Just a little bit.
But I wonder what that is for people when they come here. They're like, when you go to the US, you can get X, Y, and Z. I wonder what that is when they come up here. I don't know. I don't know. They got me interested. Because when I
Yeah,
go to
I
other
mean,
countries, I'm like, oh my God, this food is so fresh. I'm
yeah.
like, oh my God, this air feels so,
Yes.
what I mean? Like this air
Yeah.
feels better.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my God, look how they're
Mhm.
so, everybody's
Yeah.
walking and everybody's living in a way
Mhm.
of, like things like that. I'm like, oh my God, like this just feels, they told me America was the best.
Yeah.
It's like,
Mhm.
actually, this feels better. Like,
Yeah.
I think there's
I
that.
think it's the same thing. I think that they probably think like they probably looking at us and like and while we're walking around like this is phenomenal, and they're like whatever. You know what I mean? Like but I think it's you take advantage of where you are. Like you know what I'm saying? Like I'm sure that there are things that make America, really promising, really amazing for, people who are coming to visit. But also, we have some things that we absolutely struggle with horribly.
Yeah,
And
and I
when I
guess
was,
that's every country too,
yeah,
right?
it
Because I'm
is.
sure
It
there are
is.
some people that were there that live in those places we've been to that are like, ah,
Yeah,
it
yeah,
sucks.
exactly, exactly. It's all relative, right? It's relative.
No,
It's
for real.
so, but I do know
So we
like
got
that
some,
healthcare.
no, for real. So some news. All right. So yesterday
Oh,
I voted, right, for the first time
okay.
in being in here, being in California.
Yes.
Now let me tell y'all what the difference was between voting in Virginia versus voting out here.
Mm,
Number one, and this might be just this particular election, maybe, but I think it's because California is so big, but also like I'm in LA. The ballot was like 38 pages.
no, it wasn't.
The ballot was 38 pages, y'all. So
Wow.
that I mean, like, so here's the other thing. The level of depth that you have to be at in politics to be able to vote on 38 pages of folks. Like I thought to myself, I'm fairly in the know and I feel lost right now. Like
Mm.
me and Skylar standing there looking at the ballot, like, you know who they are.
Wow.
And
Wow.
that's me being transparent because there's expectations for me to know things, right? But there's of course there's races that I knew, right? We got the governor race, we had the mayor race, you know what I mean? Like, but then there was races where I'm like, who is it? I don't even know. Here's the other thing that I thought was interesting is
Mm.
that they had a little descriptor for people.
Oh
So it would
wow.
say like John Jacob, um, small business owner, human rights advocate. But the category might be uh deputy mayor or something. You know what I'm
Mm.
saying?
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that's really interesting. It had
Hmm.
like superintendent, and it would have like the person's name and a little descriptor because when they don't have a party affiliation, right? So it's not like the superintendent. You're not voting on like a Democrat versus Republican for superintendent.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I thought that was really interesting that they gave us a little character descriptor.
Huh. That is
Yeah, so that
interesting.
yeah, so that was really interesting. And then because they don't do that in Virginia. Okay, y'all,
Mm-hmm.
by the way. And in Virginia, when I voted, you can do a straight Democratic ticket. So you can just you can be like, you want to do a straight Democratic ticket, you just hit a button. It's gonna select everybody that's a Democrat. and then it's
Mm.
going to give you all the other things to vote for. I don't know why every state doesn't do that, but that's not how the ballot worked in California. Like
It's not
you
how it
had
works
you.
here either.
Oh, okay, yeah, you had to go through every screen.
Mm-hmm.
So we standing there for a minute. Like this ain't gonna be no you just in and out process.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, in Virginia, it'd be like you want to vote a straight Democratic ticket or you want to vote a straight Republican ticket, and you can just select the button. It'll just straight up. So I wonder how much these. We talk a lot about voter suppression, like
Mm-hmm.
people hold people up from getting to the polls or discouraging people from voting or things like that. But I wonder how much of the actual voting experience is holding people up from voting as well.
I think I mean, I think that that is a part of it too. I really do. Like, I really do think that, it can be overwhelming. I couldn't imagine being in California, and having a 38, page ballot. Yeah, I really couldn't, because, like, when you really want to do it right, like, you know what I'm saying? So you do educate yourself about it. And it's just like, at 38 pages, some of it is like you're guessing. Like, I'm just being on, like, you're out here
No,
like, oh my God,
seriously.
like, I'm hoping that this is the right, thing. And then too, like, I know here sometimes, even when I look at our ballot, like, when you're reading on, like bills, or, you know what I'm saying, and it's like it'll say one thing but it'll mean the other one, like, you know what I'm saying, like, I'm
I
voting
know.
for the, and
Oh
I'm like,
my
what is that
God. That
like?
why do they do that with the bills? It's so annoying. And then I'm trying to decipher if I say yes to this bill, who does it negatively impact? Like they
Right.
had one of the ones they had on there was like, do we want to tax unlicensed cannabis um something stores or distributors or something? And I'm like, I thought you had to be licensed to even be operating a store. What are y'all talking about? You know what I mean? So then I'm like, well, no, I don't think like, so then I'm saying, like, if I say no to taxing the unlicensed people, am I like holding us up from like things that might help the roads or whatever? And then if I say yes, am I putting some underrepresented person in jail because they couldn't get a license because of legal, like, so now my mind is like, do I want to tax the unlicensed cannabis
Yes.
folks?
Yeah.
And I'm
Yeah.
on page
Hmm.
and I'm on page 2 of
Yes.
38.
Yes.
You know what
Yes.
I'm saying? Now my brain
Hmm.
is like, what are we doing?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm trying
I
to
mean,
get through
it's
this. Like,
yeah.
what?
Do you guys get the ballot ahead of time? Because I know that we can get the ballot ahead of time so that you can read over it and you can kind of go in with you. They do that in California.
So yes, I think no. Did I open it because I was traveling? I did not because I was
Okay.
traveling.
Yeah.
But I would
Okay.
say that I did get it like last Thursday or Friday.
Mm.
And we went right out
Mm-hmm.
of town, so I didn't like open it out. So that's on me.
Yeah.
But I think like I'm being transparent about this because we need everybody voting right now.
We
Like if
do.
you out there, we need you voting. And it doesn't help those who find voting to be a daunting task for everybody to walk around and act like their voting experience is perfect. Right? Like
Yeah.
it does not help people who are out there thinking to themselves, I want to go, but I don't know who I'm going to vote for. It doesn't help those people if we just keep walking around acting like, yeah, I went in there and I was so educated and I know who to vote for. Everybody I
Mm-hmm.
voted
Mm-hmm.
for, whatever. It's like actually it doesn't help that. So I want to be honest that like out of 38 pages, I would say those descriptors really helped me. And maybe because
Mm.
California is so big, that's why they do, because it did make me think like this person's a small business owner. Like, yes, I would love for a small business owner to be the treasurer
Yeah.
versus the
Mm-hmm.
just advocate. You know what I mean? I would love to have
Mm-hmm.
the human rights person be a superior judge,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like
Mm-hmm.
it helped me like be like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, this is really good. So I think that those descriptors are something that should be practiced. But the whole bill thing is just strange. Like
Yeah.
somebody needs to really decode the bills that we're voting for. That needs to
Yeah.
change. We
Yeah,
need we
that
need
that
reform around
that's
that.
my thing. Yeah, I like, because we're like, when we're voting here in Maryland, it tends not to be as, like, that large. So it's kind of like you can kind of get the people, like, okay, I want this person, I want this person, this is my district, I'm voting for this. So because we are smaller, so ours isn't 38 pages, but we will have bills on there that I know that I stand there and reread like 7 times. Like, we're voting for the government to pull out or take money for the schools to prevent the blah, 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 and I'm voting against. I'm like, hold on. Like, let me make sure I read it right. You know what I'm saying? And so like you're going back and forth about it, so I can get how that would be one of the most daunting, like trying to decipher, is that the right, am I voting for the right thing? Do I even understand what this means, right, as I navigate this voting process? So well, I will say that if you do get an opportunity to look at that ballot ahead of time, please, open that thing
Look at
up.
that.
You
Look
yeah,
at it. Yeah, that
yeah,
thing.
yeah,
And so I'm excited. I was happy to vote, happy to get my little
yeah,
I voted sticker. Karen
yeah.
Bass, who is the current, well, it was a vote yesterday, but she's now going into a runoff.
Mm,
Um, so now this is one of the country's most watched political races. The results will shape the homelessness policy, public safety, and the
mm,
future of one of America's most influential cities. One of the things I think about this race um, for the mayor is interesting because now living here, I do. So first of all, let me say this: for LA to not be majority black, the people in office running like multiple different parts of LA are black. That's really interesting to me. Like the
mm,
mayor, well, I mean, we'll see who the mayor gonna be, but I mean, like the current mayor's black. A lot of city council folks are black. Um, a lot of the different like smaller municipalities where every time I open, the reason why I keep getting freezing like this, I keep opening up AP News because I wanted to read y'all the news, but it keeps making me glitch.
yeah,
Um, I find that really interesting. A lot of municipalities, like smaller municipalities in LA County, also have a lot of black folks in power. So I
mm,
find that really interesting. I do think people are really concerned about homelessness and what we're going to do about it, and I think
yeah,
that like it's a huge issue here.
mm,
And this is where I wonder, like, when the mayors get together, do they talk about it? Because like, it's also a huge issue in San Francisco. It's also a huge issue in DC. Like, I wonder how do they compare notes, or do they compare notes on like what you doing about homelessness or unhoused support
yeah,
in your city? And they do
yeah,
have like mayors conferences and stuff like that. But
mm-hmm,
people I think are really like kind of like we need to do something. And I don't know, like
yeah,
DC, in my experience in DC government, they have like a system for a lot of this. I don't know. I'm not deep into LA's politics in the way I was in DC, and I don't even know if I want to be back into all that, child. Like I went to
yeah,
the local African American Chambers gala,
mm-hmm.
and I was sitting there thinking to myself, I remember being in all these rooms in DC, and I am not sure I want to go back in that way.
And you know what, Omi, and we can talk about that too, because that's one of the things that I was having a conversation with one of my other business besties last night in regard to uh, serving, in different capacities, right? So you are an entrepreneur, you have created an amazing, organization and that sort of thing. And oftentimes when you are called, right, people call upon you to sit as an advisor or sit on a board or, participate in these other ancillary, things, and you want to, right? You want to have, your voice heard, you want to be able to speak for the populations that you serve. I think too, we have to discuss the toll that it takes on said leader, right? Because the more that you're pulled away from the organization that you're building, away from your work, um, into giving your creativity, your expertise, all of that to other organizations, it does take a toll on your ability to be the amazing leader in your in your organization, or
Mm-hmm.
to put your creativity to work for you and your company. And I think that we don't talk about that quite as much, and I think that we should, right? And I think that a lot of organizations, and I understand why, right? Because when you're tapping into entrepreneurs, you're tapping into, a wealth of lived experience of network. And I know why you would want to have entrepreneurs and organization leaders on your board and that sort of thing. But I always share this, oftentimes when you pull me away from my business, especially when your business is growing, my business can take a hit. Like it really can.
100%. I think too. Also, Jermaine and Katron, I see y'all. I'm so glad to see y'all. So our guests for today are here. I'll bring you up in a second. So I think it's funny because like yes, and you be feeling like I don't have space to not do it because I
Yes.
need advocacy across it. Like you
Yes.
start seeing certain things and you're like, okay, I need to go over and talk to the Small Business Administration folks in
Mhm.
my city. I need to join the local, and then the local chamber. I need to be on the local board of the whatever
Mhm.
because I also need a voice. So it's
Yes.
like, yes, I'm a business owner and I need a voice in the business community because because there's things that we need that somehow some people still don't realize that we need.
Mhm. I
And it's
agree.
like, how do people not know that we needed better procurement? How do
Mhm.
people not
Oh,
know that we needed like, look, I'm telling you, the procurement
don't bring
side
up
of
the
things.
procurement because I be out here. That sets me off. And I want Jermaine and Katron to come on here because you talk about procurement, that sets me off.
Yeah, no, it's a whole thing. It's a whole thing. And going through, so BGV is in multiple cities. So I've had the honor and the privilege, let me say that, to observe infrastructure across multiple cities and the gaps in that infrastructure. And there are subtle similarities um in ways to navigate it. And then you get to some cities and you're like, child, I don't even know how I don't even know how they got a local government. You're like, I don't
And
even know how y'all considering this a real local government without any small business infrastructure? What we talking about? Like y'all tripping. So anyway, I digress because like you said, I want Jermaine and try to get up here because we get into that, child. We could be talking all this. We might have to get into
listen.
that a little later if we have time. But first, let me bring up this wonderful couple. Jermaine and Katron Turner are the husband and wife team behind JPIC Studios, a boutique photography brand based in Maryland, in the Washington, D.C. area. Together, they specialize in maternity, branding, beauty, and event photography that blends storytelling. So, coming to the stage. All right, welcome. Good morning. How y'all
Good
feeling?
Good
morning.
morning.
How you
Good
doing?
morning.
Good, 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 good. How's everything?
Everything is good. Everything is good. Everything is great.
So I had the honor to meet Jermaine and Katron through my good friend Melody years
Mm.
ago when I first started BGV. Actually, that was like
Yeah,
2016, 2017, somewhere around there.
yeah, it's been a while.
And just watching their wonderful work in photography. And so I got a couple questions for y'all
Okay.
around working together as a couple, right?
Mm.
So
Okay.
how does that when you operate in a business and you got to live together, right? Some of us just struggling on team in general, you know what I'm saying? And then some of us have hired family members that don't live with us. But
Yeah,
how do you maintain a balance between like marriage and business?
it's funny because that's the first question we always get.
Yep, always.
Like
100%.
anytime we've done these types of sits and talks, this is the first question we get, and it's a learned experience.
Yeah, it is.
It's a correct question because it's a learned experience. Our studio started in our house, so one of the early rules was, hey, the fight can happen in the studio, but what happens when you go back to the bedroom or the kitchen, or and then you learn that fight will travel.
Mm-hmm.
When you fight with your spouse and you're at work at the office and you at least have 30 minutes to get home, you could probably fix it on your way home. But when you right downstairs, it's a little harder.
Yeah.
So you learn your role, and you learn what role, and we call it superpowers in our marriage. And so you learn what your superpower is, and you learn what your spouse's superpower is, and you just try to, and inject their superpower into the play.
And if I could be honest, it was hard in the beginning. Like we would be, it took us a long time to get to that space where we said, you do that part and I'm going to do this part because that's your strength and that's not my strength. And then that's your strength. So we had to learn that. Just like in any relationship, you got to learn the person. You have to learn that, hey, that what works and what doesn't work. And so it took a while, but we learned it probably by year
2017 when you met us.
How long have y'all been doing this overall?
We have been photographers for 21 years now. And so 21 years we've been doing this.
We've been married for 25.
Been married for 25. So.
Oh, wow. So you were,
25.
So when did y'all decide we're going to start a photography? Like what was you decided
we had a baby
date.
When we had a baby and we said we need some more money. And so he had a hobby and he was like, I need to do something else. And so that's how we birthed it. He said, do you mind if I spend our income tax money on buying some camera equipment? And I said, as long as it makes money. And I mean, that realistically, we didn't make any money at first, but it grew to that.
So were you always photographers, or did you do something else? You know how you do something else and then you find your way into.
Yeah, I was a hobbyist for a while, for a couple years. I was the friend that invite to your house party and I'll show it with my camera. I was that guy. Like, oh, my friend has a camera, just invite him to the wedding. He'll take the pictures. I was that guy. And then when Katron got pregnant, like she said, with our 21-year-old, then she was my first client. She was the person every month I was taking pictures of her in the park or outside. And we had a little small condo. Well, it was a big condo, but we had a condo and our studio was in our dining room. And so we kind of just, makeshifted what we knew to be what we have now, like, hey, look, let's just start somewhere. And so I just turned it from a hobby, into a business, and it sucked at first because it was just me doing it.
And I have a corporate background, right. So I'm have a corporate background, and then I didn't. By the time we won baby number 2, in 20, he's 20, whatever that was, 2007. He it's been a long ride. 2007, I got laid off from work. Pregnant with our second child, 9 months pregnant. And so he was like, well, babe, why don't you just come and help me run the business? And that's what I did.
It was that conversation like, look, whatever you was doing for them folk over there, do for us at home for this business. And it'll go off. It'll work. Just give the company. You own percentage of it anyway. You own the percentage. You're just come home. And so she said, you sure? She was a little upset and had some tears, and you've been fired, and it's a rejection call too, and so she was fired and she called me. I was that early call, and but just come home. She was pregnant, so it was one of those deals, and it just worked since then, and we just haven't looked back.
Yeah.
Now I bet you've seen a lot of stories unfold over the course of you doing business. I know Mel is a regular client, like you're her only photographers, and I'm sure you have others like that. And so you're about to launch this storytelling division. And so I want to get more insight on like the stories you've seen develop. What is inspiring you to launch this other division? Like what has evolved in the business over time, and what have you seen evolve in people over time?
Well, with the introduction of AI, it is taking a big turn in photography and in our business. But the reason why we develop our storytelling division is because we kept seeing founders that, like, a lot of us don't have content problems. We'll get on there and we'll talk about our business and what have you, but we have a story problem. So we built, as a company or entrepreneur, you've built something real but nobody knows the human being behind the story, right? So we built this brand storytelling division, and we produce a founder's origin story. So that's what we're doing. So what we're doing is, that way we're a studio that produces a film that's cinematic, intentional, and built to last. So not a reel or not a content that disappears in a week, but a piece of your legacy that's going to go on. So we call them assets, and those assets will go on uh, YouTube and Instagram and Facebook and in your community. And so right now we're selecting founding partners, as we call them, because each story is a real full production. So we're putting together full productions. We're telling you what to wear, how to style your hair, giving you suggestions. And so we craft every scene, what everything is going to look like. And so we're taking a handful of time. So here's what makes us different. So we built this as a married couple, as you guys know. He's the creative director, and I'm kind of the brand producer. So what we're doing is not just filming partnership and legacy. We're trying to show people we're living that. And so we want to bring that story to every entrepreneur, and so that people know who you are and why are you doing what you do, what is making you you. So that's what brand story is.
Yeah, it seemed like a lot of corporate CEOs and owners, it seemed like that they're in the forefront of their businesses now. So before, you didn't meet the owner of Ford, you didn't see him, and I always tell people, something happened that was really organic, but I know it wasn't. I know it was on purpose when Dave's from Wendy's started being in his commercials. And it was like, hey, this is my daughter, Wendy,
right.
that and it was like, wow, here's Dave. We never knew him. He got introduced to us, and this is his daughter, Wendy, on the outside of all of the stores. And McDonald's used to do it. They went away from it. They used to have Ronald and all his friends, Grimace and the Hamburglar and all of that. I don't know why they went away from that, but in that, it's just brand storytelling that made it. And when I've always remember, like when I was younger and Dave would come on and he was selling us a burger. Like if the burger wasn't, back then, it wasn't a million franchises out that you could get fast food from. There was no Chick-fil-A back then. So it was like, hey, McDonald's, Burger King, and choose Dave. It wasn't choosing Wendy. It was choosing Dave because Dave was in front of us. Frank Perdue did the same thing, and he got in front and told us, leave Tyson's alone or leave all those other brands alone. And so when you went to the grocery store, you believed in Perdue chicken because this authentic guy came in front of us and told us that, hey, look, this is my story.
Right.
I'm from Rockville, Maryland, and blah, blah, blah. And he has this whole Perdue family, and they're doing great, and so buy your chicken from us. And it was just a story. It was just, and so now where the customer has advantages, our clients have advantages over us. They could go to AI, they could go to any amount of 50,000 photographers that's out here. Every person that I know probably knows a photographer that's in their phone. So now, whether or not that person is on this level or that level, whatever level, sometimes it's not about levels. It's about a person's financial level. Like, hey, can I afford the other level that this person? But they'll let you figure it out. They'll take a couple good shots over, every shot being great if they could save some money. But one thing that we still can't like run away from is that founding story, that story that sold us. Like, I want to be in business with this person. If I get money, I'm going with that person. If I get money, I'm going to Neiman Marcus. I'm gonna leave Kmart alone. I'm gonna leave the dollar store alone. If I get money, I'm going to Gucci, and that's how some people talk, right? Hey, when I get a couple of dollars, I'm gonna get me a Mercedes. Well, why? Your Cadillac been doing wonders for you. That Toyota got you all through college and everything. Why are you trading it in? Why not get another Toyota? Because I got money now. And so, like, at the end of the day, it comes down to what a person made you feel like in today's buying market. What a person made you feel like in today's buying market, you have to sell and you have to be
yeah.
So that's how that works.
Yeah, thank you for sharing on that. First of all, thank you for that a little walk through history, because I think that is something that, you know, we're Takia and I was talking to founders about unique selling propositions and like, you know, what is your unique advantage and what does that look like? And I tell people all the time when it comes to the fast food, it was McDonald's was selling us speed,
Yeah.
Wendy's was selling us family, and Burger King was selling us creative, like do it your way, right? Like that was the selling points in between in between those three, and I think that. And they're in a block of each other. Right. So like people always act like, like how you gonna be so unique? And it's like you ain't gotta be completely different, but you do need to have a thread that you pull that the customer can identify with and recognize that says, I go here when I blah. I care my shared values.
Yes.
I being that like as BGV, we are coming up on 10 years. Like this is our 10-year anniversary. I really love how y'all talk about brand story and legacy, because I've done so many interviews, so many social video over time, but I still feel like I haven't yet captured, like, and I've told the story, but I want to visually capture the story. Okay. Like I want to like go back to the house that with the living room, you know. So I actually, it's funny that we're talking about this, because the person that where I started BGV in the living room in a house in Southeast DC still lives in that house.
Wow.
And so I'm like, yo, can we come? And I have pictures of us in that house, in that living room, where it all started. And I'm like, would you mind if we come and film? And he's like, yeah, sure, no problem. You know, we didn't do it yet, but it's like that being able to be like, this is where it all started. Yeah. In that moment, I could not see where it went.
Yes.
When I met y'all, if y'all would have been like, hey, homie, listen, this is gonna blow up. It's gonna be nationwide. You're gonna be on a Nike billboard. I would have been like, y'all tripping, just take these photos. You know what I mean? Like I could not possibly perceive where it went at that time. So this is why I love this idea of like, hey, let's capture your story. And then there's like milestone points too that could feed into the storytelling piece. So I love that.
Yeah, and that's what we're doing for this one. What you're saying is this a florist that we're working with, how her story came full circle. Her father was a florist in Petworth area and had a florist there, a storefront. And now she never thought about becoming a florist until about 3 or 4 years ago. And she's right back in the neighborhood where her father, same street, and she has her florist there. And so it's and he named his flower shop after her, Flowers by, and now she's named it again the same way. So that origin story for her is really big. She has 4 kids. Her husband died. So, but people don't always know those things about you, like why you really do what you do, why you're passionate about this particular thing in this area. So we're working with her to build her brand story.
She's writing a book now. That she's putting out, so it goes right along with the storyline, and so it can all unveil at the same time, and it can promote everything. And if you live in that community, you're more likely to support her business. And more often, if you knew a piece of her, you'll be buying into a piece of her. And as a small business owner, it helps. Every little.
No, I mean, not only does it help, but I think what we got to start looking at too is history in the making.
Yes.
I love that.
Right. Like I think like there is a I think is multiple angles that I'm seeing here. There is it's helpful from a selling standpoint. So for business owners who are wondering, like, should I invest in capturing my brand story? It is helpful. But I think along the way, for me, I was always thinking about one day I'm gonna do a documentary about myself. I don't know why, but you ever watch a documentary and be like, who knew to capture that moment back then? You know, like what would we do if we could get the moments of like little Michael Jackson or something, or you know, or like, you know, it's like some people have an intuitive sense to know to have a camera with them at all times. And then some people don't, and then some people maybe can't afford it, but it's like, if you can't afford to have a camera with you at all times, okay, cool. But like, let's invest in the moments of capture along the way, like capturing this moment. If you know, another 2 years, you have a milestone, capture that moment. Because oral histories, one, video history, Like we ain't gonna, things gonna evolve and people gonna go away from here. You know what I'm saying? One of these days. And in that case, video is one of the things that really helps you also reflect and look back and be like, so we have a documentary that we did based off our mural that Takia was part of. She styled us and her team did our makeup. And there's a moment in the documentary where we're at the mural and my mom says, I can rest. Like now I can rest because I know what you have accomplished.
Yeah.
Right. Now, while my mom is still living, you know, that's a priceless moment. It brings everybody to tears when they see the documentary.
Right.
I can't even imagine or fathom, you know, 25, 35, 40 years from now, when she may not be here. And I'm like, looking at this video like, oh my God.
Right. And that point when she says that, that's going to bring you to tears. Can you imagine? Because, you know, yeah.
And I'm sorry. No, I just think too, what I was hearing is that sometimes you need somebody else's lens to see yourself through.
Yeah.
Right. Because oftentimes like we're in it so much, like, you know, like we're doing it, like we're in it so much that we don't even see ourselves anymore. Right. So it's just like we're just going about, you know, because only until you said that, like I remember we did the mural. I remember, but it's just like you know, like like I moved, you're not in it anymore. But then it's just kind of like to be like, oh my God, I do remember that.
Yeah.
You know, and it's not that it was a profound moment for me. But I think, you know, what you all are doing with making sure that we get to see ourselves through a different lens, right? Through like almost like, girl, you did that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you did that. So I think that is also one of those, you know, profound moments in your storytelling where you can be like, oh my gosh, like we really did something.
Right.
Yeah, because I think that a lot of times we equate the financial success of our business being successful, like, or the accomplishments and trophies and things like that. And we collect that stuff along the way. But if you look at a career like LeBron James, for instance, he's at 21 years, I think, this year playing basketball. And here's a place where he might have trouble going back unless he's in a competitive conversation. He might, until he retires, he might forget all of the things that he's accomplished along the way. But a good storyteller will tell that story to him in a way that he can remember. And because you're so busy knocking down goals and putting things on your calendar that you'll forget that all of the great things that you've accomplished along the way. We sure do, just like you just said, Takia. We forget all the time that, hey, we've taken pictures of the president of the United States. We've taken pictures of the ambassadors and the senators and all of these great people. When, you know, when you have people that's running for campaigns right now, they're calling our studio to take their headshots and things like that. And when you see somebody build the business from the bottom up, like sometimes I've seen Melody, for instance, as a personal friend of ours, I've seen her on the stage with thousands of people clapping and cheering for her, and we're going to have coffee later. You know, and it's like, this is my homegirl, like, and you forget that, but she built this company from the ground up, and what it took for her to do that. I try to stay humble and remember what it took for that. And I'm kind of like really neutral about people. I don't care who I'm in front of. Like if it's LeBron James, I'm big excited the night before, but I'm telling you, he won't know it. Like he won't know
right.
I just have a calm, but the truth of it is, I think that it's just, we go along with just trying to say, hey, well, what does the job entails? And we just do it. And then next year you'll be on to the next job. It's like, oh, last year wasn't enough. We did LeBron James. Last year wasn't enough. So we're on to this year. And this brand storytelling was us making a pivot and saying, hey, if the community won't call, or if they won't, you know, access us in the way, then, you know, you have to pivot. And in business, if you're not pivoting, you're going to get left behind. I don't care what your business is, you know, and you have to keep evaluating your pivot. And I always study other businesses, and we have conversations. And this is the beauty about being a couple, because all day long. We could just talk about different things. You know what I seen, you know what this was, and I can just say, hey, everything that I'm thinking, because I watch. If we stay with the topic of fast food, then I can just tell you that McDonald's have pivoted too far. Like, I believe that. Like, your menu is like the Cheesecake Factory at this point. Like, I don't know what to go there for anymore. The Big Mac is your specialty. Why not keep that at the forefront? You know, like, and I just think that, like, no matter what people,
well, you know what?
Go ahead.
I want to double tap there, because as we talk about this from a business perspective and what I can appreciate about the decisions that y'all are making, the reason, not sole reason, but when people pivot too far, it's because competition is driving them there.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And so it's like, and they don't know what to let up out of or what to stay, So I think that, like, where I see what you're doing is like being very strategic about the evolution of what you have done.
Yeah.
It's like, it's an evolution, like not even a full pivot.
Right.
You're not completely going to do something different. You're just like, we've seen stories evolve over time, and now we were figuring out another way to capture them. So I think like that piece of it is really key. So when people go, do people sign up at JPIC Studio? You already have everything there for them to go sign up to do that?
About the brand storytelling? Well, we haven't fully launched it. It's something we have a division developed. But yes, if you want to find out more, yes, we would say, hey, just email us, come to our website, and then click on brand storytelling, and we'll contact you, because every person's story is unique and different. And so we really custom tailor that story. I will do research on who you are, your business, and everything, and then make recommendations about how I think we should go and get your input, and kind of build the story based on that. Like, how many shoots are we going to do, and how many, all of that stuff.
The story Bible.
Yeah. So I create a brand story Bible is what it's called. And that kind of lays out every single aspect of your story, the background, the arc, what's going to happen in each act, we call them. And then how are we going to shoot it? Every details, even the interview questions, hair, makeup for each thing. And so I lay it all out. So it's
thank you for that. And I think too, so people go to jpicstudio.com, check them out, reach out, contact them, have some conversations, join an email list if that's there, but just connect, follow them on social. What I can share with people is that it is worth it to have your brand story Bible, even if you didn't do a full shoot. Now, yes, we want you to do the full shoot, but I'm just saying, like, the power of that I could tell you from like working with just having like bring a brand guide that mirrors everything that we do, but then what that looks like from a storytelling standpoint, like that kind of thing is honestly priceless, especially as you grow.
It is.
So thank y'all so much for joining us.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us. Thank you, Omi. Thank you. Thank you, Takia.
All right. Have a great rest of your day.
You too. Bye.
Bye.
I think
that was so good. I like branding, storytelling. These are things that you're going to need regardless of what kind of business you start. And if you plan to grow and you plan to hire people, so with our brand, just speaking of brand guidelines, and that's not necessarily what they were saying specifically, but brand guidelines for us have been everything, because we have other brands that we work with. And so we want to make sure that the like brands or even graphic designers or other people that we hire, people to do our content, like photographers, like we need to understand our values. We need to understand like what our photos look like, our sort of visual identity, and so that they can maintain our branding over time. Because if not, you got to re-explain your brand every time you do a thing. And then I've had experiences in photography where, and we've done some of this work together too, where from a creative direction standpoint, there's a process to it too. I think so when I first started, I'm just like, oh, we hire a photographer, we take some photos, that's it. And then what I learned as I evolved is like, oh, but this is a brand, like I'm building a look, feel, consistent storefront, if you will, of my business. And from photographer to photographer to videographer, from city to city, I got to maintain that.
Mm-hmm.
What do I need to put together so that that story threads through everything that I do, how I show up, what I'm wearing, what, like all of that. And so it's a super important part of your brand
It
that I don't
is,
think we talk about enough.
and I don't think you do, and I think too it evolves, right? So it evolves over time, like what you think. And I think what you start with oftentimes is not where you land, when it gets to like the full maturity of it. And I think that we have to be okay with the evolution too. Like a lot of times it's just like it evolves, this like your logo will evolve, your brand colors will evolve, right? Like as you grow, it's almost like you were talking about, your puppy, like when you first start your business, it's brand new. Like it is like brand new. It don't know. It don't know, you don't know. Right. But as you start to learn more and get a feel for your business, it does evolve. And we have to be okay with that evolution, right? Like, okay, it's evolving. Because I know like even now we're trying to like revamp, not change things. Like we know what works, but it's just kind of like, is it consistent across the board? Like could somebody look at a color and think about my business? Could somebody look at a font and think about my business? Right? Could somebody hear some words and think about my business? And I think that's something that we have, you have to take time with.
100%. I think that's right. And I think that I didn't know what I want to say. I had a person on my team that was a marketing person. She was one of my first like batch of people, and she really helped me gather a lens on what that meant. Because like you said, it's like, okay, logo, okay, like brand guidelines. I thought it
Mm-hmm.
was reserved for big corporations only.
Right.
I thought it was reserved for like, but when we started working with more corporations, I realized like the way they treat their brand, these people do not play about the brand. So even before, let me take a step back. Even before I met the woman who was on my team, there was a person that became like a first like partner in sort of me like growing business. And she was a Googler. She worked at Google. And I remember we was on this community board. I don't know if y'all remember Beacon. If you're out there in Unity DMV, there was this in the DC area. We had this board called Beacon. I was on the Beacon board. And the whole idea was to get funding to business owners and just create a massive database of business owners. And I remember people there was a certain way that the branding Beacon was written where the B was always capital. And so I remember writing it or something like that. She's like, no, for the branding, make sure you capital. Like she would remind people throughout the process, make sure that B is capital. Oh no, this is incorrect. Like let's say somebody's writing something, she's sending it back for edits. It's incorrect. You got to be lowercase. And that's where I started to understand like what she had understood about branding working at Google is that these people do not play with their logo lockup, right? The Google colors is Google colors. It's going to be the Google color. Like they evolve, but it's like, y'all know them Google colors. And forever, it was those colors. And understanding that like, oh, that G looks like that. Like, oh, that O looks like that. That little G, oh, it looks like that. Right? Like, but being a stickler for it with everybody. And so now I'm like that. Like, I'm like, oh, nah. Like when it comes to BGV Next Gen, next, the N in next is capital, the N and the G is capital, and it's all one word, Next Gen. Do not write it any different. You know what I mean? And it's BGV Next Gen. It's not Next Gen. It's not Next Generation. It's not Black Girl Ventures. It's not that. It's BGV Next Gen. And it needs to be written like that every time. Like, and so I'm a stickler with it with everybody I'm working with. Oh, no, I'll send it back. Capitalize that. That need to be like, because that's the staple of you're training. It's psychological. You're training the brains of everybody around you to recognize out of everywhere you might see Next Generation, to know like, oh no, that's the BGV one.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And to do that, you have to be a stickler yourself. And sometimes when it comes to the brand, I am a little anal about it. Like that's probably one thing that I'm like, oh heck no, why y'all do that like that? That's not our brand. Why does that color look like that? And it's hard because when we're translating it on the ground, balloon colors, floral colors, banner colors, okay? Every visual that you see, I'm like, nah, what's up? Like, why that's not our brand. We give shot lists to our photographers and videographers. So when people come take video, we ain't just getting some random recap. Nah. What are our core values? How do these videos mirror our visual identity? How does this photographer now? And so my head of marketing, she has a huge responsibility because she's in charge of the face of the brand, right? She's in charge of the look and feel of the brand. And so if it's off, I'm going straight to her. What's up with that? They don't look, that's not what we do. I don't know what this is. So I think that like also understanding, like you get an understanding of it and you take a pride in it. And I think the kicker is taking a pride in it. And because that's another level.
Yeah, I think, but you know what the funny thing is, I think it's not just taking a pride in it, it's being almost having the I can't care how you feel about when I correct you about it. You know what I mean? Like, and I think that sometimes I know that's one of the challenges that I had, right? It's just like, because it's like I'm not giving you like it's not good or bad. Like I'm just telling you how it's supposed to be as it relates to my brand, right? Like I'm not like fix this. But I think too sometimes we get it's that conflict. Like we're trying to like do I push back about this? Do I say anything? Do I let it slide? Do I, and I think it's some of that too. Like that being like I'm proud of it and I'm willing to hold you like I'm willing to hold this thing. I'm standing in it. Like this is how we represent our brand, period. And
100%. And I would tell people like if you ever challenged by that, a quick reframe or real slight shift in thinking is like your signature. So like if you signed your name on something and then somebody else at somebody else's checkout, they try to duplicate your signature, you be like, that ain't mine. They can, even if they got close to it, you didn't put your hand to it. You like, that ain't my signature. I never signed that. Right? When you think about it like that, there would be no reason why you wouldn't push back on it. You know what I mean? There would be no reason why you would, hold up, time out. That's not my signature. Like, think about it that seriously. Whereas, like, your literal swift of your pen being signed onto something else is like, oh, no, that's not mine. I didn't write that. Right? Like, nobody would think twice about defending somebody forging your signature or somebody getting your signature wrong or somebody, like, nobody would think twice about that. So when you think about your brand, think about it that same way. Like, oh, no, our signature is not on this event. Right? Like, this not mine. This ain't what we doing. Or no, we need to tweet this. Or we need to, like, here's how my signature lays out. Here's how you got to go put my signature on that thing. And here's the signature that I approve of. Right? I think like that, taking that level of pride, like pushing the fear of being an asshole has caused me to make some terrible decisions. The fear of being an asshole has caused me to make some terrible decisions. And one of those things is keeping people too long. Because when I started BGV, I'm firing. And people said it all over the internet. Oh, hire slow, fire fast, yada, yada, yada. But that fire fast, we got to talk about that. That ain't easy. That fire fast mantra everybody want to float, that's not easy because when you are building culture inside of your company, firing fast impacts the culture. It impacts how people feel, right? And when you look like an asshole as a leader, and then people start saying that you're mean or your environment is toxic or you always whatever, it affects you. It impacts you. You start being like, wait a minute, I don't want to be that leader because I really care about these people and I care about what I'm doing. I'm not trying to be an asshole. I just know what I need in my company. I just know the level of excellence I need. I'm not trying to be an ass. I'm not trying to be a jerk, but I do know the level of excellence I need, and I do know when you're not providing it. And so the fear of, I'm bringing that in because you were mentioning like people, pushing back and like what that feels like. And it's like, it is a real tug of war that we need to acknowledge that like the pushing back, or even the like, I'll fire you, you don't act right. Like when you're building a culture of your workplace, you got to figure out the ebb and flow of that. Because then you're affecting everybody at the workplace, and people want to feel valuable, but at the same time, you do have to let people go. So I can openly admit that the fear of being of looking like an asshole, or the fear of being like talked about as being too rude, or too what I want to say, or not like empathetic enough. The fear of not being viewed as being empathetic enough. And then that impacted how other people feel in my company. Like, when you fire them, you might fire me. So what's my value? Like, that whole thing has caused me to make some, and when I say terrible decisions, I just mean keeping people too long, or working with professionals that I knew I should have been let go of, or contracting with companies that at one point did okay, but then just the quality fell off. But I'm like, but I'm familiar with them, and we develop a friendship. I want to keep working. And it's like, but the quality fell off. We need to find somebody new. Right? Like that kind of stuff. I can admit that like I kept people too long. I worked with people. I kept those contracts going too long. And not that it caused me like great detriment, but it has an impact.
Well, I thank you for sharing that, because oftentimes we don't hear a lot of that. Like, because everybody has gone through that in some way, shape, or form, right? Where they stayed in some kind of relationship or situationship longer than they should have, especially when it comes to being in business, whether it be, like you said, keeping a contract, or, you may not have gotten to hiring, but you're still working with the same companies that didn't do you right, or that it's time for you to move on or grow and that sort of thing, and you stay there because it is familiar, and it's the fear of uncertainty. Like, if I don't do this, like, what does it mean, right? Like, if I don't, and oftentimes we don't see it and we don't talk about it enough, right? So you're not seeing it often because a lot of us are working as entrepreneurs in a silo, right? So you're working in this space alone with your little core crew, right? And then when you do get into a conversation with other business owners, sometimes we're not asking the hard questions. Like, how do you, like, when you let people go, how did you do it? Like, how did you feel? What was the thing? What was the catalyst around? Like, how did you know that it was time to let somebody go? How did you know it was time to bring somebody on? How did you know that you no longer wanted to do business with that person or that company, even when that company was paying good money? Ooh. Because that's another thing. Like, when you get desperate, you make really bad decisions in desperation. When you don't, like, when it's like, oh my goodness, but they pay real good.
And then there's the PTSD of if somebody leave. Like you hired a good person, it was a great person, but then when you're a small business owner, but what if they leave? What am I like? Oh my, please don't leave. Like I can only afford to pay you this, but like I need you to stay. Like, you're so good, I need you to stay. You only got about to be honest, you got a 3-year, at most 5-year cap on top talent. Like, top talent ain't gonna stay with you longer than 3 years, because if they're really top talent, they're growing the muscle working with you. And as they grow that muscle work with you, they're either going to start their own business, or my experience was the people who actually left because they went somewhere else, they either started their own business or they got a dream job. Right? To me, that's a mark of success for me. That, like, if you left BGV and you got your dream job, or you started your own business, I did my job. I did my job in the training that you needed while working for me. However, it be the people that I'm like, oh God, do you really have to though? Like, can we just, what do we do? You know what I mean? Like, and your key folks, shout out to Shonda Lambert, who is like my right hand ride or die for about 5 years. And when she started to think about shifting her career, I was heartbroken. I mean, I was like, oh my God, why? Please, you know what I mean? Because first it was like, she was like, well, I think I want to go back to school, so I want to shift how I'm working. Usually, anybody come to me, I'm down to work out anything with you. But at first, I was like, why? Please. You know, like my heart was like, oh my God, what am I going to do? And then in 2024, she went to like start and run her own company. She's amazing. So we continue to contract with her. But I was just like, I felt like I was losing a limb. Okay. Like, this is my go-to. And I'm talking about when we started running the rhythm, when we finally got, because she didn't come in as a fundraiser, neither did Anna. Shout out to Anna. They didn't come into BGV as fundraisers. I trained them and we collaborated on them learning to fundraise. And once they learned to fundraise, it was go time. You know what I mean? Like they could run it. They could run it, the impact I needed. And it was like, yes. And we had that thing rocking and rolling, child. I mean, I'm talking about, we was running the rhythm. I had fundraising contractors. I had them building relationships. It was go time. And so Anna decided to go work for her mom. Her mom has a company. And then Anna ended up starting her own company. And then Shonda went to start her own company. And both of those, well, Shonda for sure, I felt like I had to do some real inner work.
I know.
I had to do it. Like, it's emotional when you when you have these folks in, especially if you had any hand in training them to be with, you know, adding to them at all. It is that hiring and firing.
I never got over my original team leaving.
Can we talk about it though?
I never got over, you know, and they are amazing women and they're doing phenomenal things and I love them down, right? But you know, I know exactly what you're talking about. Like it is devastating. Like when your original, Brittany and Tashira like branched off, and you know T is, you know, running her own amazing makeup artistry company, and you know I
Shout out to
still,
Tashira.
yeah, still, you know, that's still my baby, you know, and Brittany's out here being amazing. But when they left, like it was like I was just like, shut the doors. That's it. I'm like, I'm finished.
How can I
That's
go
it.
on? How can I
I
go
don't want to
on?
do this
How
anymore.
can I go on?
This
You know
is
what I mean?
disgusting.
It really, no, seriously. You're saying something when you say you never get it. I posted on LinkedIn one time that even if I have to fire people, I grieve that. I'm better at it now. Like now, not as much, but like for 8 years at least. You know what I'm saying? Like if I had to fire, I lost friendships. Okay, I lost friendships, hiring friends and having to fire friends. Long term, people that have been my friends for 10 years, hiring and firing friends, and I lost those friendships because I don't know you at work. Like we can kiki all day in the club, at whatever, at the bar, at the church. Like we kiki all day, but I don't know you at work. You know what I mean? I don't know how you work. I don't know who you are for real outside of like what we be kikiing at. And you could be it's almost like when people you know how they say like don't become roommates with your friend in college.
Yeah.
It's like that where like you become friends with people become roommates in college as friends, and the next thing you know they ain't friends no more. Same thing with hiring and firing. You bring your friends, you just know that you're running the risk of not being friends with them no more because you don't know them people at work. Okay.
Yeah. It's hard. It is hard. And I'm so grateful that you brought up grief, because um I don't think we touch on it enough. Like there is the grief there, especially because you are so connected. Like, and oftentimes there is no buffer between you and your employees or the people that are a part of your team, right? There is no, you know, if you're thinking about a larger corporation, there are normally buffers between the person that's up here and you know, it's like your team, and then they have managers and supervisors and department chairs, and you know, and like it goes up the hierarchy. And so oftentimes, like when people are let go, it's just like you knew who they were, but I didn't know about your kids. You know what I'm saying? Like we didn't sit down and eat dinner. Like you weren't at my house. You know what I'm saying? Like I didn't share my things with you. But when you are a founder and oftentimes you are the touch point, I'm in it with you. I know that when they left, like I couldn't even get myself together. Like I couldn't and 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 I'm not gonna lie, like my business took a hit. Like it definitely took a hit when they left, and it's like because you hope that they just hold on, especially as you're growing. Like you like just please just hold on. Like I know that, like I know you're worth way more. You know what I mean? I know that I want to pay you way more. I want us to, but it's just kind of like,
You do take a hit. You take a hit, and oh man, I gotta watch. Like I like to tell it all. So I'm trying to. So I have to stop myself. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Because I'm an open book. I don't mind because I just feel like we don't have enough people telling the full truths, which is why
Yeah.
I love that you and I can do this.
Mhm.
Because, but I also got to be mindful. I still got a teen around. I still
Yes.
got, you know what I mean? So I got to remember.
Mhm.
But so I got it. So when y'all see me pause, it's because I'll be like, girl, don't say that part.
Yeah, don't say that part.
But you take a hit. You try to fill that hole as fast as possible.
Mhm.
And sometimes you can't. And it takes a while for
Mhm.
you to make up for the deficit. And the
Yeah.
question is, do you have the runway to make up for the deficit? And some of that deficit is sometimes institutional knowledge. So when people leave, so the importance of you making sure you do your SOPs and you making sure you're documenting is because every time somebody leaves your company, they leave with a context that honestly can't necessarily be captured in words. The
Yes.
level of things that we did from 2021 to 2024, when I'm having like a full team, and in the point when I had like Mike, Shonda, Anna, Damien's had the direct of operations. Like we're running a rhythm at that point, and we're working with the biggest companies on the planet, and we're executing. We're firing off. To have something move from that, feel like, oh, you know what I mean? Like feel like you
Mhm.
lost the wheel there. You're like,
Mhm.
oh,
Because you did.
you
Because you
gotta pull over and
did.
like you gotta put that spare, and that spare like a little bit smaller than the rest of them wheels, and you trying to make it to the tire. You know what I mean? Like that's literally what it feels like.
And because it's the truth. Like it's at like you're at a certain point you're limping along, right? And that's some true. And a lot of times people don't talk about that. Like that that fire fast, hire slow situation is just kind of like, baby, I am limping. Like I'm missing a part of me at this point. And not only am I doing that, but I'm trying to fill that void, right? Like so it's just like that void is there. Somebody has to fill it. And oftentimes it is the founder, right? Is the founder that fills the void when somebody moves. And for me, because we were service based, right? When my team left, that meant that all of those clients, like that was me. So I had to go back to where I had pulled myself away from, the actual application of makeup, right?
What I had
To
pulled
grow.
myself away from.
Yes. And then when they left, like I had to go back. And I'm not gonna lie, y'all, that set me back years because now it's just like you can't you lose the momentum of the growth, right? You lose the momentum of, okay, now I'm getting contracts, now I'm working with, now I'm doing this, now I get, and they're doing this, and then it's just like, no, but now you have to take all of the bridal clients. Now you have to take, because you have contracts on the books years in advance. So it's just kind of like you can't now say, well, oh, Tashira's gone. You know, I have to, like I can't take you. No, like you have to fill that hole, and it's you. And I think that, I know that for me it was devastating. Like it was devastating
And
for
I had
me.
to ask myself some hard questions.
Hmm.
And this is where, I had to ask myself, like, am I actually running a company too? Like, yeah, at some point during my journey, like, because I'm supposed to sustain while these pieces move. Like, what does
Hmm.
that mean? So I'm like, these
Yeah.
pieces that I've built up too, right? Like to work so seamlessly.
Mm-hmm.
They have to sustain themselves through anybody working in them.
Mm-hmm.
Like these roles have to sustain themselves through whoever come next. It may not be as great as Shonda, but that next person gotta be able to step in and sort of run with it. And then I gotta tell them things that I already told her. And I gotta remember to be like, oh yes, the SOP does tell you how to turn the stereo on. But by the way, kick it a little bit because you know what I mean. Like, you gotta
tap it twice. Tap it twice.
Yeah, you gotta tap it. You gotta remember. And it's taxing because then you're going back in time. And I think like when you said I gotta go back, like going back to doing things that I had already left. You get to a point where you starting a CEO. Right? Like you move from like manager because you got to do it. You move from like jack of all trades and everything to like management, heavy manager, and you move into leader. And then boom, a piece gets moved, puzzle piece, your Jenga piece, got you wobbling. You know what I'm saying? And then you like I got to go back to doing that. And I think so with AI, because I want to bring this point into the conversation. There's a couple things around like running AI teams. I sent to Kia a video today. So shout out to Nikki Saunders, who's an amazing guide. I'll call her. She's an influencer, yes, but she's a guide because she don't gatekeep and she straight up give you whatever. And everything she does is affordable. So like you can always take her courses, join her stuff, follow her. Like this is Nikki NICKY. This is Nikki everywhere is typically her handle, but Nikki Saunders, she's amazing. She does the content for Eric Thomas as well and a couple other like dope folks, but she does her own, like it's telling you what to do. And she did this whole video series on like building your own team on AI. And she's mainly into content and marketing. So all of her stuff is geared toward content and marketing, not necessarily like your accounting team, you know what I mean? But it's all content marketing. And I was watching it thinking, this is freaking magical, right? And even after I get it built, I need a person to run that. I need my brain to be focused on a different thing. You know, it's like, so getting caught up in this bubble of like, no, you can do everything with AI. Yes, I agree. But I agree with that. If you can dream it up, you can make it happen. And know that it's AI and.
Yes.
It's AI and, right? Because I think that like you still got to be able to ask it the right thing or say the right thing for it to do the right quote right thing or biggest highest thing. And there's time you got to take with it, whereas people can catch context a little different. But I think now there is an opportunity, and this ain't a hiring firing thing. So maybe this affects some of the emotions that go into it because you also get kin to the people when you in the hiring and firing around. Like I really like. While it's great that Shonda was a great professional, like I really like her as a person.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like we really rock it as my homegirl. You know what I'm saying?
But I think too, even still, don't laugh at me. Even still, like there is grief, and even when you're switching platforms, because because it's just like even as because when you were talking about AI, like yes. Like as I switch from chat to Claude, like I'm like, oh my God. Like now I gotta train you again. I had it.
But check this out though. Check this out along those lines. Why I'm almost feeling like I'm betraying? Why I'm feeling like I'm betraying ChatGPT because I went to Claude. And then look, so I'm telling ChatGPT, give me a brief of everything that we've talked about in this chat so I can use it in another chat. But I'm knowing that I'm about to go use it with Claude. I don't want to tell ChatGPT that I'm about to go tell Claude what we talked about. You see what I'm saying? Like, what?
You cheating.
I'm cheating. Like I'm cheating on ChatGPT with Claude. And I'm in Claude. I'm like, hey, Claude, you're great, but you don't really develop great graphics. ChatGPT got this new graphic model to put out. Can you just give me a prompt that I could put in the chat? You know what I'm saying? And now I'm like, and I'm polyamorous with Claude. You see what I'm saying? Claude
that's what
gets
I'm trying
me.
to tell you.
You know what I'm saying? Me and Claude know I'm dating other people.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? In fact, Claude will let me connect to other people that I'm dating. You know what I'm saying?
And see, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
And
it's wild.
So it's platform switching grief is real.
You know what
It's
I
so real.
need?
It's
Only
so
you
real.
can I tell you some true stuff? I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna
Come
get
on.
real close. You know how you get
Come
close
on.
to the screen. Okay.
Come on, lean
You know
in.
what I need? I need investment in the CEO. So not investment in the
Mm.
business. I need CEO investment, right? Because there comes a time when, like, because we've been talking about operations, SOPs, implementing AI, doing your CRMs. Like, we've been given all of this, getting your taxes together, doing all of this stuff. And I find, and I might be just doing it wrong, I find that I need capital just so that I can get my business organized correctly. You know what
So
I'm saying? Like,
no,
I'm
I do
not.
know what you're saying. And for nonprofit leaders, that exists. However, you do have to get into different experiences to find it, right?
Mm-hmm,
So, like, I won the Maggie Lena Walker Award from
mm-hmm,
PayPal,
mm-hmm,
and that was $20,000 just for the leader to do whatever the leader wants to do.
mm-hmm,
Most of the
mm-hmm,
time, when I win awards, the money goes to BGV.
mm-hmm,
But this
mm-hmm.
one was like, nah, this is actually for you.
Yeah.
I have we have an anonymous, huge anonymous donor relationship that we have for maybe like 3 or 4 years. And what they do is they have these different perks that they offer you, where like you as the leader can engage. You can go get a discount and get in like a Harvard leadership certificate. You can go get a
Mm-hmm,
discount. Like
mm-hmm,
they give you that, and you can go do it with Mackenzie Scott and her capital and their company Lever for Change. With Lever for Change, they have these different capacity building mechanisms that you can have where you can you can go through these different trainings, or they have this place called Catch a
mm-hmm.
Fire, and you can go and put up projects, and like people who volunteer can actually volunteer to help you with those projects. Now you can go to catchafire.com like on your own and try and find it. I don't know if that's just for small. I think that's for small business too. Don't quote me. But we got into that experience through being a part of Lever for Change, who's
Mm-hmm.
Mackenzie Scott's
Mm-hmm.
efforts. There's capacity building efforts for nonprofit leaders because somebody in the philanthropic world has recognized that we need that. I don't know that a capacity building for small business leaders is at the same level of let's provide things to the leader. You're right. It's all about capacity building. Let's provide things to the
Yeah.
company. Because we
Yeah.
have a company who they only sponsor software for us to adapt. That's how we
Mm-hmm.
got into the big accounting software Sage, is they sponsored us to get new tools. And it's like
Mm-hmm.
their partnership is only geared toward us developing our tools. And
Yeah.
like in our relationship with Nike, they were like, in this multi-year partnership, we would love for you to focus on professional development. So we took some of those dollars and we designated in our budget for our whole staff to get professional development, right? So it's like,
Mm-hmm.
so our whole staff took Spanish classes. Like we pay for the whole staff to take Spanish. But I think in a nonprofit world it exists, but in a for-profit world,
Yeah.
I'm not exactly sure.
Yeah, and I think, like, I know, as I've been talking to founders, and just having conversations, that's one of the things that is always, it is capacity. And thank you for giving the word for it. Is having, like, what you need to do, like, and it's like you want to do it. Like, it's just like, I know it. I can do this. I can get this together. You know what I mean? I can make this work. I also need to get out of being in my business. Like, I need a minute, so where I'm not worried about, because dare I say, you eat what you kill, right? So when you're out here and you are and I'm sure in nonprofit there is some of that too. In the for-profit landscape, you're eating what you kill. So if you're not out there going after contracts, going after customers, going after, on a regular and consistent basis, you're not eating. And that's literally and figuratively, you're not eating. And so what that means is oftentimes it takes away from your capacity to be able to build your brand storytelling, situation. Your SOPs kind of fall short, and your implementation of AI, even, right, like, might not go as fast as it could go if you just had the time to sit and just be like, you know what, I'm I'm gonna execute Claude throughout the, I'm gonna sit down and I'm gonna figure this out to get my Claude together, right? Instead, you're piecemealing it, right? Like you do a little bit, but then you forget. Like, well, that just be me. Like I do those piece, then I'll be like, what did I do that last time? And then it's like, then
No,
I gotta
you
go back
saying
because I
I'm laughing because like you're absolutely correct. And I think like sometimes you gotta ask the AI, what was we talking about?
we keep working on.
What exactly was we talking about? You know what I'm saying? And then because I had to stop and be like, wait, what did we do so far? You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Like,
take me back. Take me back.
no, it's a real thing. I think it's a real thing. You're just like, wait, what happened here? Because when you in it, you be in it. You be like,
Yes. Yeah.
I'm getting it
Get
done.
money. Yeah.
Got it.
Mm-hmm.
And then you leave and you
You
gotta do
forgot.
something.
You forgot. You forgot.
Yeah, you don't know what was I don't know what was
Not have no clue. So listen, I'm gonna throw it out here. I'm gonna say it. If there are any funders out here that would like to give BGV money to be able to fund founders in their capacity building efforts, okay, okay, BGV links. There it is. You see what I'm saying? That's what you can donate. And I'm letting you know that there are thousands of founders who are running or could possibly be running multi-million-dollar businesses should they have just a little leverage to build that capacity where they can focus on the founder and getting that founder in the right, space fit, get everything together. I'm just saying, as one from one founder to somebody else, I'm just out here talking.
We'll
But
do
I was
it. Let us know. We got a couple things coming up too. One that's not public is we got an AI lab coming out soon. So stay tuned for that because people will be able to apply. And what we'll do for that is you'll get a stipend for AI tools, but then we're gonna walk you all the way through vibe coding. So it's gonna be 8 weeks long, and we're gonna walk people all the way through how to vibe code. Ashley, as we were sitting here talking, BGV is doing a summit, and our summit is going to be September the 9th through the 12th. And I know that by the way, the summit day is September the 10th. There's a wellness day on September the 11th. And then there's there's a pull-up and pitch on September the 12th. I want to be clear about that because when we say September the 9th through the 12th, it sounds like we want you to take a whole week off and come be somewhere, and that can be hard for folks. So we want to let people know that, like, hey, no, actually, and we may end up changing that because I think it's messing with the people's ability. They're like, I got to buy a hotel room for a week. What? So me and the team was talking about that. But when we were sitting here talking, so we're going to do some different kind of things at this conference. At this summit. One of them is we are actively working on creating a debate for AI and against AI and having a debate happen on stage. Because we realize you go to every summit and it's a bunch of panels, a bunch of fireside chats, a bunch of people talking at you. That's not what we want to do, right? So one of those things will be an active debate. Another thing we're working on is economic trends, having an economist come and talk about the future and what you should be thinking about. But one of the things that I just thought about as you and I were talking is, what if we do what I sent, what Nikki did in her talking in the video? People are sitting there being like, but what if we actually just did a live lab? That's like, everybody bring your laptop into the conference room.
Yes.
Let's do this thing.
Don't even say nothing else. Yes.
Bring your laptop into the conference room. Let's do this thing.
Let's get it.
It ain't no, like, it's like, let's get it. It ain't even a hackathon. We gonna create we need to walk you through an entire process, right? So that you end up seeing thoroughly, step by step, how this thing works. It ain't no, let's get Nikki on the stage to talk at y'all about how she do it. No. Everybody sit down, bring your laptop. This is a working session.
Yes.
Well, we gonna be in here walking through every piece of what she just put up. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, that is what we need.
How many yeses? How many yeses? Like, we need to do only that. For real. Like, it's because people want to do it.
People
and
want to do
people
that.
are trying to do it. But it's just kind of like, it's nothing like being surrounded by people who are doing it too, right? Being surrounded by somebody sitting next to you who can possibly help you. Like, no, you just didn't click that button. You're supposed to click that one,
That's
not the
it.
other one.
That's it.
You know what I'm
That's
saying?
it.
And then seeing it and being able to implement it in your business with your data, with your information, with your brand, like being able to do that, it will blow your mind. Right. So I'm gonna go with a yes. I'm in seat number one. I don't know who else is coming with what seat they got. I'm just letting you know Takia Ross is in seat number one, front row center, because I need to get it together.
This is what, yeah. Okay. Say less. You know, I only need one person to agree with my shenanigans.
Listen, and I'm the one that's gonna agree.
I'm gonna reach out
Hello.
to her today. I'm gonna reach out to her today and be like, hey, can you do exactly what you did in this video? But just
Mhm.
on stage. Like we can have you
Yeah.
sitting, we can connect your laptop to the screen. We can have people in the audience that hand mics and people got questions. But I want everybody to bring your laptop into the ballroom.
Mhm.
Set up.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
let's walk you through setting up your entire either AI team, or let's walk you through setting up this entire flow. It's like one of these, right? This entire
One of them.
flow, one of them. So yeah, I'm gonna reach out to her and see what she's saying, because I think that's
Okay.
well worth it. But
Front row
okay, we
center.
gotta go.
All
We
right,
gotta
you
go.
gotta go.
Thank y'all so
Okay.
much for tuning in. We appreciate y'all. Takia, love you. I'll see
Love
you
you more.
tomorrow. All
See you
right, y'all.
tomorrow.
Have a good rest
All
of your
right.
day.